two huge mistakes people make. First of all, you want to be thinking big. It's a major life transition. Think about the major milestones of your life, whether finishing high school, finishing college, getting married, having your firstborn child, other children, your parents' retirement, your parents passing. These are all the things that are the major milestones in one's life in addition to a divorce. And those are all huge. And this one is also huge because frankly, it's not deliberate, it's not planned. Even if you've been the one thinking about divorce, there's a lot that goes into it and you don't have all your ducks in a row quite yet. And this is all gonna come together pretty fast. So you gotta be thinking about what that next best life is gonna look like relative to what happiness is gonna look like afterwards. Houses, your custody and parenting time for the children, your cash flow, your assets for the sake of retirement or even ability to take the vacations and do the things you want. Just that ability to focus, the peace of mind, the confidence, the excitement for the future, as opposed to living in the ruins of your demolished building that was your marriage. So a lot of times people are just like, this is what I need to get through. As long as I get this, I'll be like, and they're thinking minimalist, like bare minimum. That's not gonna serve you. That's gonna be one of those people that where you're 4 years out of your divorce and you're still ruminating over how badly it went versus being more deliberate. Really thinking about how are we gonna make that happen? And then of course, working with a good attorney that can actually help you with that successful divorce transition as opposed to just getting you divorced. The second bit is being anxious. I mean, you're gonna be anxious anyway, but it's this opportunity to sit down at the kitchen table or the equivalent and hash things out no sooner than you decide that you're gonna pursue divorce. Because everything's up in the air. You don't know what cash flow is gonna be like. You don't know if your kids in the custody and parenting terms are gonna serve them or if they're gonna be suffering. You don't know what's gonna happen with the house and you're wondering about whether you're gonna have to lose all your retirement and start over. All of these things are very anxious. And there's this opportunity of, can't we just sit down and talk this out? This is where mistakes are made. Not that you shouldn't try to hash it out, but you don't know what you don't know. So if you're doing this before you found the attorney that works really well with you and that you're on that same wavelength and they've briefed you on how all of these issues intersect with one another such that they take your factual circumstances and kind of help you design a plan as to, all right, these are the goals, these are the priorities. If I can't get this, that's going to implicate this other issue and just these little things. You want to be legally briefed and strategized around what you want before you have that kitchen table sit down. Because two things are going to happen if you don't. If you give into that anxiety and you do that sit down and you hash something out, one of two things is going to happen. One, no matter how much your attorney later on tells you that that's a bad deal, that there's some really massive drawbacks on that might serve you right now, but in 6 months or 18 months, whatever, you're gonna have problems. Even if you go through with it and the judge signs it, you're locked in on that. And there's a lot of stuff that's either a permanent, like you can't ever go back to court on it, or you're gonna have to wait a couple years. There's just some notable hardship that can come by locking in a divorce decree that doesn't serve you well. The other circumstances, you meet with your attorney, you realize, oh my God, that was horrible. Not horrible maybe, but like we need to move this other stuff around. And so you go back to your soon-to-be ex-spouse and you say, hey, we're good with these bits, but I can't agree to this other stuff. In addition to all the other levels of sense of betrayal that comes around with divorce. And not saying that it's always there, but there's a lot of hard emotions, negative emotions, hard feelings that's there. But now they think that there was an agreement and you thought one too, and now you're backing out on it. And the consequence for that later on as to then trying to get that train back on the track and come up with a new settlement is so much more difficult when they know that you've already backed out of one agreement. That platform for a good faith effort to try to get issues resolved later on, it's just so much harder because they retreat, they take more obstinate positions. They basically think to themselves, this is who he or she is gonna be for the years to come. And so I need to be more conservative in what I'm seeking in this divorce. And so you could see why this early kitchen table sit down, it just doesn't serve you well. I mean, unless like you knock one out of the park and happen to hit a perfect agreement, there's a lot of drawback for that. So essentially you want to be able to think big in regards to making your future life that next best life that's going to be really content, comfortable with what's going on with your family. But then also don't be too anxious to try to settle this before you do the preliminary legwork to make sure that you know what's best after you've been legally advised.